What's good, everybody? Davidson Crooks here. One half a fast break for iSports Radio. Dirty for all sports. D-Locke will be on here with me shortly. He's coming back from the airport. On tonight's show, we'll recap games 3 and 4. Who has the edge with the series tied up going 2-2 back to OKC on Monday? We'll discuss that. Also, the pace is up. Double digit in the fourth quarter. You kind of lose that game in game 4 and lost their edge to kind of close out in 6. We'll also factor that in as well. The Knicks coaching search continues forward when they keep getting rejected by team. Who can they go after, and what's their realistic chance of getting who they want? We'll discuss that as well. And also, the NBA offseason is off to a nice little punch. Desmond Bane is going to the Orlando Magic, D-Locke's favorite team. We'll discuss that as well, and who won that trade, and who else might be on the trade block this coming summer. So this is Fast Break here, live for iSports Radio. You'll be following sports, and I'll catch you on the other side here momentarily. And welcome in tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us here tonight, here at Fast Break here for iSports Radio, your dirty for all sports. Happy to join with y'all tonight. Lots to talk about, lots to get into here on this lovely Sunday. And happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. You know, wherever it be your actual father, grandfather, great-grandfather, uncle, or wherever, you know, male figure in your life that has helped you from the good times to the troubled times. Shout out to all those fathers out there. Salute you and continue to be the great influence in your child's life or niece, nephew, wherever that you're involved with. So lots to talk about, lots to get into here tonight. Here with us, real quick, gotta do this. You follow iSports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Also, check out the website, iSportsRadio.com. You get all the latest shows, news, and feeds. A lot of changes to the network. A lot of good changes going on the network. I know minicamp has concluded, and our 3-and-out series with Larry B should be getting ready for prep for that for next month. So be on the lookout for that. But do check us out on all the social media feeds. We do a lot of short videos. A lot of guys and gals do a great job with the shorts and stuff like that. So if you like on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, check out those shorts. All right. They're good, informational, and get you out under 2 minutes. 2 minutes tops. There. All right. And do follow our show's page as Fast Break ISR. That's Fast Break IESR. I did drop a video when D-Log actually sent me the trade because I didn't know about it. I was Father's Day stuff, all that stuff. But he sent me the info about the trade about Desmond Bane going to Orlando with KCP going back. So we'll discuss that trade momentarily here. And then, here he is. Here he is. Speak of the man right now. He's coming on here in just a second. Get this out here real quick. All right. We in there. What's good with you, D-Locke? How you doing tonight, sir?
Doing pretty good. I just got some traveling done, but all is well. And yourself?
Doing pretty good. I just shout out everybody for Father's Day. Hope everybody's doing good out there. All that stuff. Everybody eat good, or if you're doing your fatherly stuff, as always, you gotta do your thing.
Yeah.
I just got back myself, man. Like I went out to my parents' house, took my dad a 6-pack. Took him out there. He drunk 2 of them so far. So all good in the neighborhood there. But D-Locke, a lot of things to discuss, a lot of things to talk about. I know you weren't with us last week, but we're just going to drop off right here. Game 4 of the NBA Finals with the Oklahoma City Thunder, who let's be honest, D-Lock, it was a must-win game for them because they can't go in the whole 3-1, go back to OKC tomorrow and potentially win that game. But you can't go back in Game 6, back to Indy with that crowd and trying to push it to a Game 7. They could, but it'll be a tall task for the young OKC Thunder. But they win the game 111, 104. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander had 35 points. Jalen Williams, 27 points. Alex Caruso, more on him in a second, but 20 points off the bench for him. On the Pacers side of things, Siakam had 20, Halliburton 18 and 7 assists, but 5 turnovers. Off the bench for Indiana, 17 points for Obi Toppin, 8 for TJ McConnell, 8 for Ben Mathurin there. D-Lock, at one point, the Pacers are up by double digits in fourth quarter.
Right.
And I thought to myself, okay, the way things are going, you know, and the energy Obi Toppin is bringing, I thought that, I don't say had in the bag, but, you know, they were getting there. Your thoughts on Game 4 and these two teams tied 2-2? Who has the edge so far?
I mean, to be honest with you, this was a hell of a game. You know, Caruso did come out and played well. He played well to match Benedict Matherin's game the game before. So I think that played a huge part. You know, Halliburton, 1 for 7 3-point land. That's definitely not going to help. Miles Turner jacking up threes. He couldn't make none. But for me, I think Caruso coming in the clutch moments. He played extremely well. Also, SGA woke up right on time. I mean, going into the half, I believe he had like 12 points, 12 or 13 points, and he finished with 35. So he woke up that third and fourth quarter. And it played a huge part in this win. I think that this was a game, again, I agree with you that OKC really needed, but also with Pacers knowing that they knew what was at stake. They could be up 3-1, and now they could be in a totally different situation going into Game 5. But, I mean, both teams fall hard. I mean, I think SGA, OKC showed us that they were the better team that day, that game. And they could realistically be the better team this whole series. I think knowing how Jalen Williams played, he played extremely well, having 27 points. Hartenstein didn't do too much, but Chet Holmgren was grabbing everything off the glass, which is huge. So for me, I think it's a toss-up, man. I think the Pacers fight, they play hard. Play very hard. But this is a game that was definitely needed by OKC. Hell, I thought that the way this game was looking, it seemed like the Pacers had control of this game for the most part. You would think that the Pacers were definitely going to win this game. But, you know, the Thunder pulled it out, knowing how important it is. Now, I mean, you go into Game 5, which is the most important game of the series. I think this is going to be a hard battle here. It is in OKC. I just feel like there's no blowout in this series. You know, we first thought it was going to be, but the Pacers just play too hard for it to be that. And SGA, you know, extreme. He plays well, but these other guys come around. TJ McConnell, who had 5 steals the game before, who couldn't grab a steal to save his life the last game.
Yeah.
So this game is also about matchups, but now it's about the momentum. Can OKC grab Game 5 and put the pressure on the Pacers? And I'm pretty sure that's the plan. But also, I just feel like the Pacers are just this resilient team that's not going to back down. So it's hard to give the nod to which team has the momentum. But I'm definitely going to go OKC because they won the most recent game away. Everything was in the hands of the Pacers. They could have got that win, and then now looking at a totally different situation. But the Thunder came in, and that's fine. The Thunder came in and got the victory, and it was needed. So I think in my mind, the Thunder they should take this momentum and grab Game 5 tomorrow.
Ooh, okay. So we got the Thunder. Okay. Okay. Go back to Game 4 real quick. I think Obi Toppin was great for. I mean, one thing. We're starting this. I think one thing that carried Game 3 for the Pacers was the bench. Benedict Mathurin, T.J. McConnell, and I shout out T.J. McConnell. That second quarter by him, not just scoring, but just the energy, steals, all that was really put them over the edge and kind of really carry them through to the rest of the game.
Right.
If this effort went there in that second quarter for them, for Pacers, they probably would have lost that game. Then you come to Game 4, okay. Can Benedict Mathurin, scored, again like that. Well, he didn't, but Obi Toppin did. And he's got great energy and stuff like that. But I also said on our show's account right here on Fastback ISR, I said this during the game. I need SGA to be more assertive because he's like a little too lax. And he showed up in that fourth quarter. Him and Jalen Williams, your two top players. The shot in the corner for the 2-point shot that kind of put them over the edge and kind of, I don't want to say won the game, but and then the 3-pointer that SGA hit, that's when your superstars need to show up. That's when your MVP needs to show up. Shots like that. When he showed up like that, I don't know. When I said that tweet, I don't know. Did they catch wind of that? Or was this kind of by chance? But your two top dudes, Jalen Williams and SGA, show up in the second half. And I keep on beating the table here on this playoff run. Y'all can go back into the archives on these shows. Jalen Williams, I don't know what it is in third quarter in him, but he comes alive in that third quarter. Yeah. Not just scoring. Put it out there, not just scoring. Passing the ball, initiating offense, playing good defense, all that good stuff. When he gets going like that, all phases of the game, talking about Jalen Williams, kind of feeds off to everybody else. So, when that happens, everybody else kind of feeds off that. Caruso played great for the Thunder.
Oh, yeah.
Driving the lane, getting contact, hitting shots. He kind of matched that energy that, that T.J. McConnell brought in Game 3.
Agreed.
And he's not. I like T.J. McConnell, but at times he's like scared to shoot sometimes. And I thought like, damn, you were never like this before. And then, but Caruso's like a different energy with that. He ain't scared the big moment. We've seen that with the Lakers. He's not scared of the big moment. So to say, who has the edge going to Game 5 between these two teams, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. Like you brought up, even the Pacers are a team that don't have no quit in them. But the Thunder, we discussed, a couple weeks ago, the Thunder got the better talent though. But I'm gonna go the other side. I'm going to Pacers with the edge. I got the Pacers going the edge because the no quit, and I think they can adjust a couple things to go their way. Now, what that means is like guys like Halliburton, he's got to be straight all the way through. He can't just pop up here and there, whatever, or if he gets going, then he's trying to take over. I need him to be consistent all the way through. Consistent all the way through. And at times, we really hadn't gotten that in this finals with Halliburton. We got that with the Knicks series. He was all over that. But this series, really besides game winner and game one, we haven't seen too much of that. I know Miles Turner has had his hands full, the two bigs down low, but I still need a little bit more out of him. The Chet Hogan, you can push Chet Hogan at the post.
Yeah.
You're 6'11" yourself. You're 6'11" and 270. Post it down. I know you can hit the outside shot, but I like to see top Miles Turner go down a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I still give that to Indiana just because of the experience, coaching wise, and hopefully maybe Rick Carlisle can turn things around. And I wonder if it's a psychology thing that what he did defending Scott Foster, if Scott Foster refs another finals game, that they might try and get some brownie points on that side and try and stick up for the Reds and get some things in their favor come tomorrow in game 5. But yeah, you can scheme all that stuff, but also about sports, this well as well. It's got psychology as well.
Oh yeah, big time.
Can you get a mental edge over your opponents? And Rick Carlisle, shouting out, trying to defend Scott Foster, who, let's be real, should be a referee in the NBA, but him defending the refs and stuff like that favors in that way. But we'll see how that shakes out come game 5. Yeah, I'm ready your thoughts.
Like I said, I think it was hard to pick this game 5, but like I said, I think the momentum that OKC needed, they got, especially in Indiana. I just think that now, that gave them that push that, hey, okay, we are the better team. Now let's go ahead and take this lead, especially at home. I think now that home court advantage is going to play a huge part. Now I think for the Pacers to win the series, they got to win tomorrow. I don't think they want to go to OKC game 7. So this will tell it all. I think, for them to have the opportunity, they're going to have to win this game 5. But, and I wouldn't doubt if they did. Like I said, they've been coming out striking hot early, all of these games, except for game 1 where they, a little bit, shaking the rust off or whatever. But ever since then, the Pacers have been sticking with OKC this first quarter, point for point, for the most part. So it just, can they do that after having, the loss that they just had, So again, it seemed like it was just seeing Benedict Mathurin have 20+ points off the bench, and now Alex Caruso has had it, so that momentum has changed slightly. Can Indiana Pacers slow it down? I think so. But I think the Pacers are going to run with this, especially with the lead MVP.
I think, for me, if the Pacers are going to win, I look at it this way. Miles Turner is going to show up. I think Tyrese Halliburton got to be more consistent.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not saying take a whole bunch of 3-pointers and stuff like that. Drive the basket. You got an excellent float game. Take advantage of that. Take advantage of that. Run the floor a little bit better. And I think sometimes, going back to the game 4, I think they're at times, especially in that 4th quarter, they're a little too passive trying to get that 3-point shot.
Mm-hmm.
At times, a little too passive. And Richard Jefferson pointed that out in the broadcast. Like, you don't have to look for the great shot all the time. Sometimes there's a good shot there to take. Good is just as good. I know you won't try and get great, but good is just as good. Yeah, I think sometimes, they lose. You kind of lose sight of that, and you just go with your work and what worked well for you, all that stuff, and you got to the finals. That's what we got us there, all that stuff. But sometimes, hey, you got to take a good shot. gotta take a good shot when the opportunity comes to you. And then also Neesmith. Second time these playoffs he fouled out.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a little better than that. Got to be a little bit better than that. And then, him scoring the ball has got to be a little better as well. Other than that, like I said, Miles Turner, Siakam. Yeah, 11 going Indiana going for 11-36 from the 3-point land. That's got to be a tad bit better. And then, finish the free throw line, that's got to be a little bit better. Like Mathurin went 5 for 8 from there. Obi Toppin went 1 for 4. That's like 6 points. 6 points to leave on the board right there. And you're talking about a 1-point game right there going in that fourth quarter. So stuff like that, that'd be better. For the OKC side of things, for me, I know Holmgren has been rebounding the ball pretty well, but I need to see a little bit more scoring for him.
Oh, yeah.
I need a little bit more scoring for him. Same thing for Hartenstein. I think the scoring between those two has got to be a little bit better in my eyes. But, SGA can't be quiet. Jalen Williams, I think he's been fine for the most part. So, but I think for the big men for OKC, that's going to determine if they're going to win the NBA Finals. They got to show up.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're there. I know Isaiah Hartenstein got put back in the starting lineup, but they got to show up better.
Yeah.
But I'll let you have the last word.
Especially against a team that is very resilient as they are. I mean, we've seen the Pacers down by double digits, 15 points, and find a way to claw back. So if you let this team go on a run, and you're not getting no shots, you might be in some trouble. So I think that's the biggest thing with me is you let the Pacers stick around. You let Tyrese Halliburton get hot. Siakam, these guys, they're going to start jacking these threes. That 12-point game you had is now a 2-point lead. And this team thrives off of momentum and energy. So, and again, that's why it's very hard to count them out. I just think, how the Pacers are playing this series extremely, extremely well. I mean, yes, be honest, we did see them lose at home to OKC, but it's 2-2. 2 at home, 2 away for both. So it's an even series right now. No matter how we got here, whether the Pacers won the first 2 games, OKC won the last 2 games. However, now we're at 2-2. And the thing is, now what's got to happen is this next game is going to tell it all. I think SGA said something very crucial of now it's best out of 3. Instead of best out of 7, it's best out of 3. Who gets the 2 games? So taking that approach is taking it game by game as we hear in different sports. I'm pretty sure I've heard other ball players say something similar, but to say it like that, it kind of, he's taking it one game at a time, as they said, but now he's like, it's the race to 2, not the race to 4. So I like that approach. But to be honest with you, I mean, I know the views are not as high as we've seen in the past in the NBA Finals, but I think these are the 2 teams that are meant to be in the NBA Finals this year.
Yes. And we're going to discuss a couple teams here that are looking to get there themselves.
Mm-hmm.
One team that you root for, made a big deal, and we'll discuss that here momentarily. But when we take our first break, D-Locke, on the other side of things, I discussed Tom Thibodeau's situation in New York. I want to get your thoughts on that and then the latest update on that. Then plus, ladies and gentlemen, the first domino in the trade off season, Desmond Bane going to D-Locke's Orlando Magic. Does this put the Magic in a different tier now? We'll discuss that as well. But this is a fast break here for Ice Sports Radio. You're following sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to IE Sports Radio, your three forward sports. I'm Davidson Crooks. The other side right there is D-Locke there. D-Locke, I didn't think they want to do this. Like, we talked a couple of weeks ago and all that stuff, you know, and let me get that up here for the ladies' MC. I know last week I talked about this, and they actually did it. They let Tom Thibodeau go. And it seems to come to find out that after the season, you know, of course, these teams have owners meetings and all that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And one, Mr. Dolan set in all the players' meetings as they exit and out. Now, which is not uncommon, but if you did do the leagues and stuff like that, and I mentioned this last week, Vinny Goodwill, who writes for Yahoo Sports, put out an article saying that Dolan was in all the meetings, and Dolan also wasn't a big fan of Tom Thibodeau. So you had that factor going to it. You know, it seemed like Carl Towns and Mikal Bridges was not a fan of Thibodeau, and either one of them, as it come out in that article that Vinny Goodwill wrote last week, we're not going to try and play for the Knicks if Thibodeau were to return. So, D-Locke, I looked at the floor. What are your thoughts on the Knicks let go and Thibodeau? And who the hell do you think they're going to get the job?
I mean, I have mixed feelings about this because, you know, we know what Tibbs does with his starting five everywhere he's been. These guys don't get no type of break. So I think that plays a part in how they play in the playoffs, and we've seen that. So for me, I had mixed feelings because, for one, okay, he does overplay his players. They get tired or injuries or whatever. things like that happen. But on the other side, I mean, the Knicks went farther than they've been in years.
Yes.
The big trade for Karl Anthony Towns played a huge part with that. But I'll sit here and say that Tibbs had a hell of a spot with that as well. For them to have, this is the first year for them to have Karl Anthony Towns, in my mind, I think that what could we have seen next year? The adjustments. Now, granted, that's one thing we know that Tom Thibodeau doesn't do as much is make adjustments. But I think this is one of the better rosters he's ever had. You know, this starting five is a good group that he's had. Bringing in another coach, I don't think it's going to make that huge of a difference depending on who we're talking about. But for me, I mean, the Celtics had their, situation going on with Jason Tatum. The Pacers were hot. That's a team that, like I said, I think was going to give them just a matchup just because historically, the history that they have. If I really had to lean on, I probably would have preferred for them to keep Tibbs at least another year. Brunson just was playing too good, and it just seemed like this team was going to be really good for years to come. But now, this is the kind of stuff that keeps teams at the bottom. They make decisions as such that hurts their future. All right, boom, you got a squad right now. You got a coach that's working right now. You probably, he can make slight adjustments, but you got your team, the Knicks, far as hell, that they've been, bringing the historically matchup between the Pacers and the Knicks alive again, the rivalry. Keep this going. Add a couple more pieces, maybe make another big move, free agency or draft, and see where you can spend this. I think Mitchell Robinson started to play pretty well later on in the season. You can possibly use a little bit more on that bench because outside of those 5 guys they had, their bench wasn't really doing too much. So Deuce McBride played good from time to time, but wasn't consistent. And you probably can throw somebody else in there with that. So that was my first thought process. But to move on from the guy, obviously it's the Knicks. Obviously it's Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson. That's a dangerous combination. So you got guys that are gonna want this job, of course. You know what I mean? This is gonna be a big job. But for me, I think that this might set them backwards just a little bit. I mean, I think that just because now you're creating a chemistry with your guys and your coach, see where it shakes out. See where this goes, because we don't know what the the Celtics are gonna look like next year. Milwaukee, we're talking about the situation with Giannis. The Pacers, are they just on a historical run? Are they gonna look the same? I think they should have stuck this at least stuck this a year or two out to see where it goes. But for them to move on, it was shocking, to be honest, when I seen it. I definitely was shocked because I just thought that, with this hell of a run, like, why move on from somebody that's brought your team with, the caliber player that they have farther than they've been in years. So again, it's going to be kind of interesting who gets the job. I'm seeing that they're trying to reach out to a lot of coaches and they're getting denied. They're requesting a lot of coaches.
Man.
They're getting shot down. Like, yeah, bro, like we're not going to help y'all, especially what you have. I think what they were saying something about Mike Brown possibly interviewing for the job.
From what I saw, Mike Brown and Taylor Jenkins are interviewing this tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
From what I saw, so
yeah, I mean their options, big name options, are limited because these coaches that Jason Kidd denied, Chris Finch denied. Udoka denied. Come on, I mean, like these guys are not gonna get it. They're not these teams are not gonna let them get interviews. So, same thing with Quinn Snyder. So, to me, I don't think they get a huge name. I think Mike Brown does interview for. I think him and Jenkins they possibly have a good chance, but it seems like whoever they come in, they got to win now. I mean, because Tibbs got them far. You know, what's the next move is the NBA Finals. So, where do they go from here? And like I said, for me, I think that the biggest thing is that now you're starting over with a different coach and a new system. Does he keep those players? Does he move? Did he try to move some pieces to make it more of his? Now, obviously, I think two people are untouchable. That's Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns, without question. But this group that he have, they're walking to a hell of a situation. But what do they do? As we know, a new coach come in, they kind of want to put their spin on some things. So it's a bit of a shocker, man. But to be honest with you, man, I remember when Lovie Smith went to the Super Bowl and got fired the next year from the Bears. And I just was like, wow, like this dude goes 10-6 and you still let him go. So,
and they weren't right for a while after that.
Yeah. So I'm not shocked. You know what I mean? So again, this is part of it, part of the business.
Just to recap what I said, you know, we have like a lot of big heads in the offense that were trying to make a decision. Ultimately, the owner overshadowed them and made the call. Now, we don't know how many of these guys, like I mentioned Bridges and Karl, but we don't know how many other of those guys complain about Tibbs and his style. So that plays in factor. I know Brunson stuck up for him. Josh Hart has stuck up for Thibodeau, but we don't know everybody else. So far, D-Lock, we've seen the Knicks go after Billy Donovan of the Chicago Bulls, who, as we're discussing on this broadcast, maybe getting a contract extension with the Bulls.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mind, but you know, Bulls gonna Bulls. Then, you know, you mentioned Quinn Snyder, that got denied. Then we got Ime Udoka out of Houston. That got denied. You know, if I was him, I may try to look into that just because, I don't know, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because let's think about this. One hand, in New York, I got a ready-made team and stuff like that. I was out in Houston, I got a young team, but I don't love all my young guys. You know what I'm saying? But I said last week's show, like it's hard to leave Thompson and Sengun though at that young age to go to a younger, older team. I was like, Thompson may be coming to and this is Sir Thompson coming to his own as a two-way player for years to come. So you don't want to give that up. And Sengun, one of the better big men in the league, don't want to give that up. Only thing I think this glaring with Houston is kind of like a true point guard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Shepherd kid at Kentucky you drafted was basically non-existent this year. He's saying it's on the G League. Dylan Brooks is okay, very good, nice key piece to have on a rotation. Jalen Green, the jury's still out on him. But I'm going to circle back around to Jason Kidd. Only reason I come back to Jason Kidd, and last week I said, well, if you're Jason Kidd, you know, why leave, go to New York in a win-now situation and all that stuff. and stay in Dallas, get Cooper Flag, build around him for years to come. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can mold Cooper Flag in the image you want and all that stuff. If things go well, then boom, you got another superstar to coach for years to come. You got a great mulligan in the trade from Luka Doncic. But also, coming throughout the week and thought about this, listened to a couple of shows and read a couple articles. Jason Kidd still ain't happy how that trade went down. And him being thrown out to the fire, kind of answering questions in which the GM didn't really want to do. And you still got that tension there between Nico and Jason.
Mm-hmm.
And at some point, man, it's like, you got to come to head to something like that. We know business decisions to be made in pro sports. But if your coach in front and your top dog in the front office can't get along, one of them got to go.
I agree there.
And one of them got to go. You missed the playoffs. Kyrie out with an ACL. You got Anthony Davis, and he went out with the injury and stuff like that. First off, and first game in. Do you really want to rebuild down on out here? Because that's coming down the barrel. Kyrie's contract's up a little bit. Klay Thompson is a shell of their former self. Future Hall of Famer, but shell of their former self. Anthony Davis. How many good years he got left in him? So
Yep.
getting Cooper Flag is nice, stuff like that. But if I can go somewhere and win now, and we mentioned about the East and stuff like that, Indiana, Boston's going to be down in a down year. Cleveland, God knows what happened in Milwaukee. So,
yeah.
If you're Jason Kidd, Brunson, Bridges, Hart, Towns, OG, let's ride. Whatever we got to do with the bench, we'll figure that out. But I think that's the main thing with the Knicks, though. It's like, who can you fill out that bench?
Yep.
I haven't looked at the numbers, but the money kind of there, but they really kind of top heavy this roster to a point. I think they really saved them was that Jalen Brunson contract he signed, because he took a lot less to get these other guys in. So Mitchell Robinson's a free agent. Do you bring him back? I know Steve Adams got a nice contract extension from the Thunder, and I think it averaged out to $13 million a year. That seems like going to be the going rate for centers in the offseason. Do you offer that to him or let him walk? Like, a lot of questions for Leon Rose and all those guys up in New York. Okay, fine. You got rid of Thibodeau, fine. Okay, but how are you going to address the bench and stuff like that? Big question there. Miles McBride, good player. After that, I said last week, not really else. If we're being real. You could bring back Shammy back on the cheap deal. Okay, cool. After that, who else do you got? Not much.
That's what hurt him.
And look at who's in the finals now. Both of those teams in the finals got depth. They're drafting or signing trade, whatever, but they got depth. They can go deep.
Mm-hmm.
And one was a former Knick at that too.
Indeed. Great signing. Great signing.
So for New York, if you're a New York fan listening to this, be careful what you wish for. If and to the players too, be careful what you wish for, because where they get in. I know Mike Brown, Taylor Jenkins interviewed. We'll see about that. My vote is the dude, Johnny O'Brien dude from Cleveland. The guy who didn't get the job from Phoenix and his associate did. I put my vote for him because at least he came from a place that kind of went deep in the bench and stuff like that in Cleveland. And we've seen that how that went in Cleveland. Guys miss games, but you still can go deep in the bench. Guys like Ty Jerome, Dean Wade, others, DeAndre Hunter, you got to trade later. You can go a little deep in the bench in Cleveland and still get positive results. So if you want somebody experienced like that and a fresh face, I say go him. If you're looking for somebody for experience, I will say Taylor Jenkins, but he had a golden situation in Memphis, and he kind of like fumbled it. Some of it on his own, and some not on his own, but
he played a part.
He played a part, but I put more blame than John Morant and others in that situation. Mike Brown, man, he got done wrong by Sacramento. But it seemed like with him, it's like good couple years besides the Cleveland run.
Mm-hmm.
Besides the first Cleveland run. After that, like things go well, but then some reason or other during the middle of it just go bad. He's gone.
Yep. I've noticed that too.
So those two guys come to mind, and then after that, you go in the discount bin. You got Terry Stotts, you got Darvin Ham, Mike Budenholzer, Scott Brooks, Nate McMillan. I can keep going. So Knicks fans, and particularly James Dolan, I know you didn't like Thibodeau, but sometimes you got to ride with the hot hand. And I think Thibodeau, like you mentioned, was a hot hand for New York. So I'll let you have the last word on this.
I mean, you did say, like, you already know how I feel about Terry Stotts. That's not my guy at all. I think that my biggest thing is, you got to bring somebody in, that is going to have to fill that role, because, I mean, look how far Tibbs got him. So when you bring somebody else, you let him go, the expectation is not only to get to where Tibbs was, but even further. Who can do that? So do I see Darvin Ham doing that? No. Terry Stotts, definitely no. Taylor Jenkins, possibly. I think the situation in Memphis kind of hurt him, like he said, but I think, to be honest with you, I think he's probably the top guy, in my opinion. One of my top guys, I would say. But, it's obviously New York, and you're going to have those high expectations, knowing that you got two big player names in Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. And that roster, like I said, that starting five is great. I think they fit perfect. But if you can't get a bench in there, then it doesn't matter. And that's what we've seen. I think that's the staple that we see with Tibbs teams. If they have a great starting five, but they never have a bench to back it up. Not two guys that can come in and give a Brunson a real good break, or give Carter Towns a real good break, because Mitchell Robinson comes in, but eventually he was starting, with Karl-Anthony Towns. So who's that leave? You know what I mean? So for me, I think whoever they could bring in, the starting five is fine. Bring in somebody that could bring a little bit of rotation to those guys, And then now we may be talking about a team that not necessarily fully rested, going into the playoffs, but they have a little bit more energy to move on to that next round. I think that's what hurts Tibbs in every stop that he's made.
Yeah, I put a bow on this. It's like it all depends who they get in the offseason. It all depends who they get in the offseason to kind of level at the depth, wherever the draft and whoever you can convince to come in on 1-year deals. That's the main goal. So yeah, these players probably didn't like playing all these minutes and stuff like that, and kind of want to space takes out. Hey, that's cool and fine, but you better hope you relay that message to your front office, because I looked at the roster like some guys I heard of them was like, can I put you in for 10 minutes? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Deleon Wright, fine player, but he's been around the league for a while. Cameron Payne, at one point out the league. That's somebody I really can't depend on. And he showed that a couple times in the East Conference Finals. Like, why are we playing him?
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you mentioned about the big man, they won't, like you said, they put Mitchell Robinson in the starting lineup. After that, we didn't have nobody. Like, you didn't have nobody, 6'10" and above. Precious Achiuwa, he's what, like 6'8"?
Yeah, 6'7", 6'8", yeah.
So, beyond that, you got to figure out, who you going to have out there and whatnot, who you going to get, and figure out that way, all that good stuff. So, we'll see what the Knicks do on that stuff here in the coming weeks and stuff like that. But D-Lock, we'll take our last break real quick, and then the floor will be yours. The trade that Orlando Magic did earlier today for getting Desmond Bane, I want to get your thoughts on it, and does it put y'all up in another level? But this is Fast Break here, live by Sports Radio. You're ready for sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at @SealTheDeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back here to Fast Break here on IE Sports Radio, your default sports. You see on the scroll right there, Dufall's IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and wherever you get your podcast from, Spreaker, Google Podcasts, Spotify. Give us a like and follow on there. Give us a review as well. Doing a lot of big things here on the network. You check out IESportsRadio.com. A lot of changes in the network, a lot of changes in the shows and whatnot. So do follow IE Sports Radio for all your latest shows, news, and feeds, all that stuff as well. D-Locke, you sent this to me. I was doing fatherly duties early this morning, but big time trade happened. Now, I say, this is big time because Sam Sharadi had put out that this offseason, we're going to see a lot of movement in the NBA because of the tax aprons and the salary cap. A lot of teams don't have a lot of money like that. Besides, I think the Pistons and a couple other teams. So I'll let you have the floor here. But Desmond Bane going to the Orlando Magic in return. Dentarius Caldwell Pope, KCP, Cole Anthony, and 4 unprotected first round picks going to the Grizzlies. I think a pick swap is in there as well. So the Magic get out of KCP's contract after 1 year. Cole Anthony going to the final year of his deal, gets dealt to Memphis. D-Locke, I'll give you the floor. What does this trade mean for your Orlando Magic?
Well, the first thing I seen when I seen it was the draft picks. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of draft picks. That's your draft capital. But if you look at it, Franz Wagner and Ben Carroll is your team prior to this trade. So, you going into the trade trying to build more pieces or grab more forwards and small forwards, you're good in that area, right? Probably can get you some more depth, in the 4, the 3, and the 4 position, which I'm pretty sure they're not done yet. They'll probably find that somewhere. And I'll say this: Jonathan Isaac needs to be the one. He needs to be the one that's on the move pretty soon. But I really love this trade. The more I think about it, one of the reasons why I love this trade is because Desmond Bane is 26. So he's not the Kevin Durant. He's not the Giannis. He's not that superstar, but he's probably a tier 2 to them, right? He can come in. He's averaging this past season. He averaging 19 points a game, but before this, 23 points. In 2024, 2023, 21 points. So he can get you about 20 points a game, which is what the Magic needed outside of Franz Wagner and Ben Carroll. Jalen Suggs is going to be Jalen Suggs. I think that Cole Anthony, you're fighting with minutes. I knew that somebody, I think I said it like a while back, one of these guards were going to have to get moved when we got Jett Howard, Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, and Cole Anthony. There's no way you're going to keep all those guards. And Corey Joseph, who gets a chance to get in the minutes, and he plays extremely well. So for me, I knew at some point somebody was going to get moved. Cole Anthony, hell of a piece for Memphis. But I like this trade, man. I mean, you got a guy that can score and play defense. I mean, that's kind of what you wanted out of KCP, but KCP is not a guy that's going to give you 20 points a game. That's not him. He'll play hella defense, but he's not going to give you 20 points. I don't see his ceiling being that. So Desmond Bane can go give you 25, 30, when
Mhm.
Ben Carroll is out or Franz Wagner's having an off game or vice versa. So for me, I think this is a very, very good move. Also, Desmond Bane can pick up. He can play the point sometimes as well. But you add him in with Jalen Suggs, Anthony Black, Gary Harris, to Jay Howard. You got a good group of guards now, and you got that one guard who we haven't had since Tracy McGrady, or Vince Carter for that matter, that can score a hell of a lot of points.
Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah.
It's been a long time. You know what I mean? So when you get somebody like that means now you kind of can move around kind of how you want with the Franz Wagner and the Ben Carroll. Now you got some guys that can get you. Now not only you're playing defense, but you can score points when you go against a team like the Indiana Pacers, who can put up points. Boston, who was putting up points. So I definitely like this move. I think the only thing now is what do you do in the big situation? I don't think Wendell Carter is the answer by himself. Goga. I think you need somebody else to come in. So do we look into maybe signing somebody, maybe a veteran with that? But I mean, that's your quote unquote big three. Desmond Bane, Franz Wagner, and Ben Carroll. I mean, these are your guys. This is probably what you were missing with having Caldwell Pope. And I don't think they were expecting him to put up those amount of points, but I think this season let them know how much they needed another scorer at the guard position. So grabbing him, that was huge. And now you got something to work with. I mean, like I said, you got your. I've said it for years. I've seen my Magic team grab a player, and then he's good for a while, and he leaves. Well, they don't re-sign him. Now you have a player like Ben Carroll. If you're building around this guy to keep him, you put the pieces around him and Franz Wagner. I think Desmond Bane is a hell of a piece. 26 years old. He's around that age. Franz Wagner is probably 24. Somewhere around. Let me double check. He's 23. So, gonna be 24. So, yeah, you got you some guys that you can build around for the long run. This is how teams are consistently good. They get their core and they build around them and they put the young pieces around them. Desmond Bane, Ben Carroll, Franz Wagner, that is your core. Now you build around those guys. Now, yes, you're going to need a veteran presence or a championship presence. And you bring that there so they can know what it needs, what's the expectation of winning. So, yeah, I think as much as I've seen how many picks that was, I'm okay with it being the fact that Desmond Bane is only 26.
I think for me, I'm going to look at on the Orlando side of things because I think they won the deal because, like you mentioned, you get like a 20-point score like that, you can hit the three in consistency and look up the stats like consistency, like Steph Curry wise. I think you got a great deal. Orlando desperately needs some outside shooting for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
Wagner, Rick Harrell are scorers. I mean, they can shoot the ball, but they're more scorers. Desmond Bane, now you got those two guys, those two 16 dudes who are all around, can dribble the ball, dodge the paint and stuff like that. And if they need to kick out, now you got somebody out there you can depend on to knock down some shots. So now your offense can expand a little bit. You can do more things now. And I like this move for the Magic. I hate giving up 4 first-round picks, though.
Yeah.
That's like I saw it. You sent it to me. I was like, damn, 4 first-round picks.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes back to the Rudy Gobert trade. And that kind of set the market of kind of like, how are you going to phrase it, all-star caliber players. That's the going market for those guys. Because look, going back to last offseason, Mikal Bridges, 4 or 5 first-round picks for him. Now it comes to this trade. 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. So it's cool, but I think some of these teams, you still need to build the draft somewhat.
Yeah, big time. I agree with you.
But I think some of these teams are kind of thinking, we're doing like the Magic. They kind of like sense themselves in the win now mode. Okay, these picks ain't gonna really be nothing. So why not flip them for somebody that can put us over the top? I get it.
I agree. Me being a Magic fan for so long, and I'm used to us being in that lottery. You know what I mean? Every year. Mainly because you draft good and then you let some of these guys go. Or they can't. This group that they have can't get it done. The Aaron Gordon, the Vucevic, the guys that they had. But now you're looking at what you have in Banchero, who's 22, Wagner, who's 23, about to be 24, Desmond Bane, 26. Can these guys put you in the East? Can they put you in the running to where you're like, okay, I got my core guys. I just need to add this piece and that'll set it up. Or I just need to add a couple bench players and that'll set it up. It's going to be interesting to see how they put it together with that because they still need somebody to come off the bench. I don't think Gary Harris is the guy that you really want to rely on to give you 15 off the bench. So I don't think they're done. I think that they're still they're going to make some more moves. But this is a Magic team. This is a Magic move that I haven't seen. I haven't seen something like this in a while. So like I said, I think I really like this move. I think, like you said, what hurts is those 4 draft picks, but I'm glad that they're not relying on the draft capital to get to be competitive.
Yeah.
Because that's all I've seen them do. Okay, well, we've been bad. We're just gonna find Mo Bamba. He's gonna change our franchise. That didn't work. We're gonna draft Aaron Gordon. That didn't work. You know what I mean? So now you got the guy that is showing he has a potential of being a star in this league. A very good potential to be a star in this league. You put some pieces around him, and you see where it goes. So yeah, I think now this team can be really good. But now you got to see what you do with, okay, what do you put around these guys? Who do you put? Now you got to put a little bit of rotation in when Banchero is out. You got Desmond Bane. You still need some scores. So, or you need some bigs, which I think is huge. Jonathan Isaac, like I said, this may be the offseason that he gets traded. If the Magic trade this dude during the offseason, they going deep in the playoffs. I'll say that right now. Because they're moving what I'm saying is they're moving in a different direction than I've seen. So, we'll see. But I definitely, like I said, I'm with you. I think, making this move, the draft picks did hurt, but I'm okay with it. Now looking at Desmond Bane's numbers.
I think, also for the Magic, I'm trying to think. Now you're going to depend on more in year 3 for Anthony Black and Jett Howard to contribute. I think that's another thing you look at this trade. Okay, Anthony Black get more consistent minutes. Jett Howard gets more consistent minutes. So hopefully those guys kind of, you've been in the system for a couple of years now. Hopefully you take that next leap to help contribute with this team. Like you mentioned about the big man situation, I don't know if he's up for trade or not. There's rumors that he is, but maybe take a swipe at Jared Allen.
Ooh.
Bundle up Wendell Carter, Jonathan Isaac. If you got another first-time pick to throw in there, do that. Maybe get him down there. And now you look at if he's available. But you talking about Jared Allen, Banchero, Wagner, Bane. Jalen Suggs.
Yeah.
Big man that really don't need to score, set screens for your other guys on the wing. You're not getting that from Jonathan Isaac. And I know Jonathan Isaac is probably like a favorite from the ownership because of political views. But sometimes, hey, you gotta make decisions for your team. And I know he probably favorite y'all, but if you can flip him for somebody that put you over the top, you gotta do it.
Oh, for sure. And that's what I mean by that move for Desmond Bane.
But I do like this for the trade for the Magic. And like we discussed about the Knicks, now, okay, are y'all there? You know, like I said, Boston will be in a down year. Now you kind of pace where the Pacers are and what probably where the Knicks are, who are top heavy. So now you're kind of up there, and the Cavaliers, they're up there as well. So that's 4 teams right there. You want to throw in fifth? Probably throw in the Milwaukee Bucks. And from reports that I've been seeing, Giannis may not be going nowhere, but you know they're really going to dip into the luxury tax to surround a good team around them. With what? I don't know. Dame's gonna be out for this year. You know, Kuzma was kind of like a dud for them. But to go to the Memphis side of things real quick, losing Bane's going to hurt, but I think they kind of drafted well the past couple of years to kind of offset that a little bit. Guy like G.G. Jackson, the Wells kid, I think you kind of did enough over the past couple of years to kind of, I know it's going to hurt, but maybe those other young guys will step up to the role. But for Memphis, man, it all depends on the health of John Morant.
Always.
If he can stay on the court for at least 65 games in a year, 70, I think Memphis be straight. You know, you got next year. You have another year, Zach Edey, Jaren Jackson. I need to see more of him rebounding wise and down low. You know, they got some guys, nice guys off the bench and stuff like that. So for Memphis, we'll see how that goes. And then, you know, reports are saying they, you know, teams are looking out for Ja Morant, see what's going on in that situation. And Jaren Jackson will keep an eye on that. You know, if Memphis is going to do our fire sale, this is going to be the offseason to do it. But I was just thinking you built so much there for the past couple of years to tear it down. But that window, I think that window's gone. Dylan Brooks is gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Steven Adams is gone. That window to do something with that core guys is kind of gone. John Morant can't stay on the court. Jaren Jackson, fine offensively, defensive. I mean, I know he's fine defensively, but he don't rebound enough in a league that don't play a lot of bigs like that. You're 7 foot, but you average like 7 rebounds a game. How's that happen?
That don't make no sense.
And now, since I think he's out of the loop for the Supermax, all that stuff. How much determination he's going to be a great player? That's another factor. So for Memphis, you know, they got the 4 first-round picks. You can do stuff with that. But I think your Magic won this trade hands down, running away. I know Cole Anthony, who do fine there in the backup role behind Morant and Scottie Pippen Jr. Probably may start as well. Who knows? And KCP, we'll see how long he stays there. He'd be a fine piece to stay there as well with them. But before we head off, D-Lock, who else gets dealt in the summer? I know Kevin Durant is a popular one, and I think that deal's going to get done by draft night. But who else do you see getting dealt in the offseason in your eyes?
think one you hit nail on the head with Kevin Durant. I think now he's already kind of putting together where he wants to go. And to me, man, it's the same thing. I'm like, this guy is every year he has a specific place he wants to go. Like he just, you know what I mean? Obviously, he wants to go win. I get it. But he definitely has different places he wants to go. Probably the person that I'm thinking pretty far out. I mean, Giannis seems like he's kind of comfortable where he is. But I'll stay with my Orlando. I say Jonathan Isaac gets moved. I think another surprise, even though I don't want it to happen, I just think with this Desmond Bane's trade, I think Jalen Suggs is another possibility.
You think so? Well,
Yeah.
You know what? That makes sense because he can't stay on the court for nothing.
I mean, another reason why too is Anthony Black is playing extremely too well. So now, I mean, if you can keep Jalen Suggs, that would be perfect. But I think that again, it's about what they're looking for. What are they trying to get out? What are they trying to get out of this trade? Like, what are they trying to get? They got their core, their three guys. Now, in the sense, Wendell Carter isn't just a guy. Like you said, if you're looking at a Jared Allen, you're looking at another big. There's a few guys in free agency, but do you take that risk? And what do you have to give up? You don't have no draft capital. That's a wrap. So where do you go? So I think I don't want him to be moved, but the more that I think about just this trade, I think Desmond Bane is going to be the ball handler more. And I think that's something that they're kind of thinking. And then on top of that, again, Anthony, you still got Jet Howard back there. Anthony Black. They're trying to get Gary Harris. You're good at the guard position. So who's the hottest guard that you can move? So that's just something that I'm thinking. Maybe Jared Allen, but it has to be the right call. It has to be the right picks. I mean, what do they really need? I mean, Evan Mobley clearly is taking over. So what do they really need for that? But that's about it, man. I think just Kevin Durant being the top tier, I think he's automatically, the first one that gets moved. I don't think anybody at the Knicks gets moved. Another person that I wouldn't be surprised, probably a sleeper somewhere, is Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah,
because Jalen Duren is just at this point he's playing pretty good. I think now Isaiah Stewart is probably gonna get moved, and also possibly Kyle Kuzma because they see how that worked out. I don't know how much money they have tied to him specifically, but he'd be another person I wouldn't be surprised to get moved.
For me, I think the obvious one is KD. Now, who that may be between the Spurs, Rockets, I forgot who the other team was. The Heat. I seen the Heat. They ain't trading nobody else besides. I mean, everybody else is up for grabs except for Bam and Tyler Hero. Don't know why on Tyler Hero, but those two guys are not available for trade. So, I think they got the draft capital to do it and enough salary to do it. We'll see how that works out there. The Spurs, if I was saying, I'm trying to be pushing that Spurs trade. Victor, De'Aaron Fox, Castle. I'll be trying to push that Spurs trade. Now, I've seen some reports saying that Jeremy Sohan is untradeable, which I think is just freaking ridiculous. But to get Kevin Durant, hey man, Sohan,
yeah, of course.
You tie that hair, you go to Phoenix, man. I'll ship that dude out so fast. To get Kevin Durant, I'll do it.
Oh, for sure.
And then for Houston, God, who did they get? Who will they give up? Who would they be scared to give up?
That's good.
Sagoon,
Jabari Smith.
Jamari Smith, yeah.
You got to give one of them guards.
Ooh, well, who you give up though? Ooh.
I ain't giving up Jalen Green, so
You don't think so?
I ain't. I won't. I mean, they got guards. I mean, it's just in my mind. If you get KD, I'm looking at Jalen Green, Sengun, and KD. That's off the top of my brain right now. You got some other pieces over there that you can give up to Phoenix, like Van Fleet. I probably would ship him up out of there quick. I ain't gonna lie to you. I mean, he's solid, but you got so many other guys. Like looking at it now, if I'm in Houston, Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and Jalen Green.
That'd be tough to do.
Yeah.
We probably throwing the Shepherd kid from Kentucky.
I was just looking at. I'm looking at him. I probably would consider.
But I mean, they could keep him, but it's like if you try to get a deal done, I say, hey, he's this kid right here. We didn't play him much, but
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have to sacrifice a whole bunch of draft capital, okay, here you go, man. Okay, a guard, point guard per se, not after point guard, but I would do that.
I mean,
like
my
Shepherd,
thing is, yeah,
Eason. I wonder if they throw in Cam Whitmore in.
I just looked at him too. I'm keeping two people. They're untouchable. Sengun and Jalen Green. Jabari Smith, you definitely need. You got that.
What about Thompson?
It's either him or Cam Whitmore.
Well, Cam Whitmore got
him or Tari Eason. I mean, him or Tari Eason.
Yeah, Tari Eason got to go. Thompson got to stay.
Mm-hmm. That's why I said it earlier. I would have to. It would for me. Jabari Smith, Tari Eason, and Van Fleet. Boom. You give me KD. That Shepherd kid, like you said, I probably consider, but you're keeping your core guys. At this point, KD just want to go out there and get his 30 points a game, or average 20, so whatever. That's what he wants to do. So, and he's gonna get that, but it'll be less pressure on him when they have Jalen Green and Sengun. I mean, that's your ball handler and your rebounder. So it's just what do you have in rotation? Like you got Steven Adams, so you're good with that. Heyman Thompson can go out there and go get his buckets. So if I'm the Rockets, that's probably what I'm doing. The only team that probably could put a similar trade or better trade is the Spurs. But I honestly wouldn't be surprised if KD goes somewhere outside of those top three teams. It's just where.
That's a good question, and I think something to keep an eye on there as well. I would throw in Bradley Beal in there as well. But damn, that contract and no trade clause is just I don't know, man. He might be in Phoenix next year. But boy, that's somebody I would put to be dealt, but he won't be dealt because of those reasons. Another person I'll throw in there, and we'll see what the Lakers do. But Austin Reeves is a name to keep an eye on.
Oof.
I know his agents come out and said all that denouncing the trade rumors, but if Desmond Bane going for 4 first-round picks and stuff like that, and guard depth, and they ain't looking for a big man, I don't know, dog. You might have to holler at them about that.
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, like you said, they're looking for another. They need a big, but and what would they get for Austin Reed? Definitely get a lot more than I think we got what the Magic or what Memphis got for Desmond Bane.
So I think look out for Austin Reed, ladies and gentlemen, on that front. You know, who else can throw out there before we get out the air? I will go. I'm gonna go with Charlotte real quick. LaMelo Ball, only because like he ain't been healthy. You're in the lottery again. Could you sell to somebody? I've been on this train for the past couple of years. Like, can you sell to somebody? Trey Young is another person I say keep an eye on because he's in the contract year. What goes on there? Paul George. That's somebody to keep in mind. So I think it's gonna be a lot of movement. Underneath got Boston. Either between Drew Holiday, Kristaps Porzingis, or Derek White get moved.
Yeah, Derek White's been pretty hot too.
Me personally, between those three guys, I've had to keep somebody. I keep Derek White.
Yep.
Drew Holiday, I could probably fetch more in the trade because he's still serviceable. Porzingis, that's a different story.
You get pennies off a dollar for him.
And then I'll throw one more in there. Damian Lillard.
Oh, I can see that. I was thinking about it earlier when we brought up Milwaukee.
I know he got the Achilles injury. I know he's older. But I think Milwaukee's trying to keep Giannis. And I think they do anything to keep him. And moving Dame's contract will probably help with that. So we'll see. We'll see there. But I think that can happen. Nicholas Claxton from the Nets, that's another name to keep an eye on. As the Knicks accumulate more draft picks, I think you can fetch some first-round picks out of for him. And I think the Raptors going to do something. Because I've been reading too many reports that they're going to do something. For who? I don't know. But the Raptors, keep an eye on them because they're going to do something. So Majari Ujiri is going to do something up there because too many rumblings come out of the north for them not to do something. But I would say Denver and Michael Porter Jr., but it seems like he's the owner favorite as well. So I like.
Yeah, he would have been got moved if he wasn't.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think he'd be gone trade deadline if he wasn't. But it's like, damn dog, you ain't give me shit. Let me ask you this before we get out the air. OKC got a lot of draft capital in this draft, in which a draft that's kind of, I don't say, it was pretty good class coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think? Let me pull up the picks real quick.
Got a few of them, sure.
Let me pull it up. Let's see. As of right now, OKC got the 24th pick. That used to belong to the Clippers. That's the Paul George trade. And then I want to say they got another pick in there somewhere. But they got a lot of draft capital as well. some second rounders as well for them. Oh yeah, they got the 15th pick from Miami. So 2 picks within 9 picks within each other. Do you think they'll do something with those picks, or just draft somebody and develop them?
I mean, I think developing is something that they don't need to be doing right now at this point. I think that if we look at this OKC team before we know if they win a championship or not, what is it that they need? If I had to pick something, not necessarily need, but something that would just put them clearly ahead, like head and shoulders above the West, I probably would say a small forward, somebody that can dominate, or a power forward. Now, who's out there to try to move for? I think that's the biggest thing for me. But I will move those 2 picks for another star. I also would probably use some players in exchange with those picks to get us another star. So for me, I would be calling Milwaukee. That's just my thought process.
You say going after Giannis?
I mean, at this point, I think that they have the bigs, Chet and Hartenstein, but now SGA is going to be SGA. What is it that will put this team just dominant in the West? They already were the top team in the West, but what these other teams are going to be, the Lakers are going to be better. I think
We'll see.
Dallas is going to be better. Golden State is probably going to be pretty better. We talk about Houston. Houston's going to be better. Minnesota's going to come back. They're going to be better. Denver's going to be better. I'm not saying that they can't make the same run, but I think they may run into more issues with teams now that they're at the top. We know what that is. Teams are coming for you. So at this point, we've seen it before. You got to go out. I would literally go out to somebody that can make it, that will just put this team at, okay, this team is clearly the best team in the NBA. Now, who is that? Who could that be? Could it be Jaylen Brown? I don't think they go after KD. I think that's out. Could it be Giannis? We talk about pieces being moved. I mean, do you go out and go grab another superstar to pair with SGA? Because what is developing doing for you right now? You've already got you got a great group of guys right now
that really love each other.
Yeah, you got a great group of guys. Dort, Kason Wallace, Chet. We got all these guys that you can rotate and they're doing good. So to go grab somebody at 15 and 24 to develop, do you really see them getting into that rotation to make a huge impact or impact in this group? Now you can come back and grab and then kind of just load up, have more depth and come back and just kind of land on repeating. But I don't really see that happening with how the West is, because San Antonio is coming. That's definitely the case. So, and if obviously you got Giannis possibly talk about being moved, baby. He's going to stay in Milwaukee. I would give a call. I mean, right now, Dame is on the shelf. Giannis knows that. So does he really see them being a competitive team this year coming up? And is Dame going to be the Dame that we know when he comes back?
Yeah, that's the main thing.
So you have, and I know that's a far-fetched thought process of going after Giannis, but at the same time, we know what the West can be. So in my mind, I'll say I wouldn't say Giannis for sure, but I'll say I would take those picks and I will go aggressively after another superstar. That's just my thought process behind it because you got SGA, he's going to be there. Chet Holmgren, okay, cool. Hartenstein, I mean, he possibly may leave eventually for some more money. You're going to move Chet into that position. Now you got SGA and Chet. Dort, you got all these guys. Move some of them, go grab you a superstar, get you a three. Get you your three squad, your three players, your three superstars. Now you're set not only for now, but now you're putting a dynasty together. Because we know that is what it takes in the West. Majority of times. You got to have you at squad to consistently be good in the West. We seen the Denver Nuggets a couple of years ago, and we were like, well, damn, Jamal Murray and Jokic are going to be this unstoppable team for years, and they're not in the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm.
So it's and obviously we do know the Lakers will be coming at some point, whether it's this year or next year. The Lakers are going to figure it out. They're the Lakers. That's just what happens. They made a huge chess move by going to grab Luka. Whether people seen it earlier this year or not, in about 4 or 5 years, we'll know they made a huge chess. Same thing with getting LeBron. They made a huge chess move. So if you know that and you're changing some things, why not go for it all? I mean, even if you win the championship this year, that's going to make players want to come to OKC anyway. Now you kind of say, well, hey, we've already won one or we've been to one. Let's try to be consistent. Let's try to grab somebody else to be competitive. Obviously, Giannis is that big fish. That'll be hard to grab, but they got the draft capital. And we said this years ago when they got all them draft picks. When they got all them damn draft picks, we said they can go grab somebody. So the fact that Giannis is a damn like Giannis, but I think this is a chance for them to grab somebody, that can kind of continue what OKC is putting together now.
Yeah. It all depends how they finish the finals.
Mm-hmm.
If they win the championship as this team currently presents itself, then I mean, yeah, you do some moves to shake things up or minor changes, but you're not making wholesale changes. If you lose the finals, what can we do to be better? And I think that's the thing that Sam Presti and company have to ask themselves: win or lose, how do we stay here? Chet Holmgren's still on his rookie deal. Can we take advantage of that? That's another thing. Jalen Williams is up for a contract extension here soon after making an All-Star team and All-NBA team. That's going to play a factor into things as well. How they're going to do about that. So, I mean, we'll see how things shake out and whatnot. Like I said, like Shams brought up, this offseason, it'd be a lot of moving and shaking.
Yeah.
So be prepared, ladies and gentlemen. Like the Phoenix Suns, the Texas teams, OKC, Miami, Boston, Knicks, Lakers, the Clippers, in my eyes. Timberwolves gonna be another team to watch to how they keep that game going. And the Bucks. Then you look at those core teams, the Cavs. I think you got a lot of teams gonna be a lot of moving and shaking and stuff like that. And we saw part of that today with the Desmond Bane trade and whatnot here earlier this morning. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. Locke, how can people find you on social media?
You guys find me at Black-813. I will be retweeting a lot of Orlando Magic things. I'm pretty sure a lot of fans are hyped about that. Also, more things are going to be done, so we'll see how it goes. Let them know they can find you in the show's page.
You can find the show's page right there, Fastbreak IESR. That's Fastbreak IESR. Also, do follow myself on Twitter /X Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I do never show the side called the Crooks Process. Do follow me on there on Instagram and Facebook and also YouTube as well. So do follow me on there. I do mostly content videos and stuff like that. So do follow me on there as well. As you see in the bottom, follow iSports Sports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. You check out iSportsRadio.com for all your latest shows, news, and feed as well. Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see if the final NBA Finals be concluded. Got the NBA Draft right around the corner. And then also around the draft, we also got trade season coming in as well. We saw one go down, where others will follow. But we'll see about that as well. So tune in, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to y'all later. Peace.